Just tell me when we're live, my homeboy, my boy from
We
home.
we are live. We are live.
No, we're not. You're lying. We're
We-
not live. People are not hearing. I can say disparaging comments about minorities without
no, no, no,
no,
no,
no, no,
no,
no. I'm
no,
just
no.
kidding. I'm a minority,
You
so
can so
if I make disparaging comments, I can do it. I'm a minority. You
you
know,
can, you
right?
you come onto my channel to be unoptical. Is that it?
Uh, I'm always an optical. It's
Uh,
just that I'm unoptical in a different sense, yo. Anyways,
yeah.
enough
Welcome,
enough fooling around. Welcome
welcome.
everyone. Welcome five people who's gonna be watching this because I didn't shield this on my YouTube channel yet. Um, Today I just told Flood, hey Slay Boy, let's talk
Who's
about
the host
world
here?
peace.
Who's the host here?
I don't know.
Whose
You?
show is this, by the way? It's my show.
Mine? No, you see, it's mine because I payroll you. You're under my
you.
payroll. Did you know
I'm.
that?
I wish. I wish I was on the I don't know what payroll you, the KGB payroll or something.
No, 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 no. This is a payroll. There's a different kind of payroll. You won't get it because I didn't pay you yet. And I'll let you host. I'll stop screwing around.
No, we can screw around. I mean, I guess this is the perfect episode to do it. Like you DM'd me like what 2 hours ago, and then we just watched
Yeah,
the show. So anyway, welcome,
yeah.
Flooded Cinema episode 12, special episode, special alert, red alert. Here with
Mm-hmm.
number one E celeb and E boy David,
Thank you, sir.
just David at the moment, Medwhite acolyte,
Yes, yes.
last
An
name to be
acolyte like
determined.
myself. Yes, we will pick that. People. Surname is not something you can pick, but
Mm, we bestowed.
I'm built different. Okay, I can pick my own surname. So yeah, I told him, hey, let's talk about world peace because it was such an amazing show. Um, I remember the first time I watched this, I was really excited when this first came out.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioned this off air that the last episode was aired like a little less, like just a tiny little less than 5 years ago.
yeah.
And it's insane that I remember vividly. I was in an airport and I realized that episode one came out a couple of days ago, and
Mm,
I was like, I have to watch this. I have to see this. This is just something I must watch. And I remember after finishing the first episode, I had no idea what the heck just happened because I didn't really understand a lot of
mm.
the stuff that was going on. The first sketch in the first episode is kind of strange. Last sketch in the first episode was amazing now
Yeah,
that I look at it today. But back
yeah,
then I didn't really get it. I was like, what's going on over here?
yeah,
The like male prostitutes being hired by women and they're like not doing anything sexual. It's like my brain couldn't compute. It's like I don't know. It's like trying to explain mathematics to a dog. Like he's just not gonna understand what's going on. That's basically what it was.
yeah. I haven't watched it through the whole way in a couple of years now. And I remember when I first, because I think I got onto MDE like a few years before this came out, and yeah, I was really super excited for it to come out as well. And like me and my friends, we would torrent the episode after it had aired because of I'm in Australia, so it would have aired at a weird time or whatever, and then we'd get together and we would all watch it together, with this big do for just like 10 minutes of whatever, and we did it for 6 weeks in a row, and yeah, it is just reflecting on where things have gone since the show has come out. Like it's 5 years basically. This is basically the fifth anniversary, and like now watching the show, it all makes perfect sense because this is exactly what all the comedy is like on Twitter now. Is everything in this, and yeah,
Yeah,
it was
not
just
on the
so ahead of its
comedy,
time.
but the message is also applicable
Mm,
very much today. I didn't feel like it was applicable back then when I first watched it. I was like, I don't get it. Like this is just
mm,
it went over my head. But when I watch it today, it doesn't go over my head anymore. Like for example, the last skit of the first episode where the three femoids
mm,
hire male prostitutes just to live out their non-sexual fantasies.
yeah,
That's that's just true. I mean,
yeah.
it's not a fantasy, it's just reality. Most men today, 80% of men today, they're basically those like non-sexual prostitutes who all they do is like let women live out their fantasy and they don't even realize it.
Yeah.
These bitches, man, like I'm sorry, I'm going George Floyd mode here with the
What?
what was he what did he say? What was he saying again? It's like our generation is so lost, man, so lost. Like I don't even know what to say. No, I agree. I
Mm,
genuinely agree. Like
yeah.
um, it. I honestly like I was probably one of those guys 5
Mm,
years ago. That's
yeah.
why I didn't get it because I was basically Sam except I wasn't gay. Right? I wasn't gay, but I was
That's a weird
basically
one
in
to pick out of the
history.
three of them.
I know, right? Well, what do you want me to pick? You want me to pick Nick,
Mm.
who ended up being with that fat, disgusting slob? It's like, ah, you're my advice, man. I'm not, I'm not that down bad.
Yeah. One thing we don't have, we're not going to go through all the history of the show and the cancellation and everything necessarily, but just like one point of trivia or the history of it was Adult Swim swapped at the last second episode 1 and episode 5. So the one with the cop killer sketch at the end was supposed to be the premiere episode,
Hmm.
which I think would have been a way better episode like it would have been much more effective of setting like what the show is about and things like that.
What were the skits in episode 5?
The dinner party one.
Oh,
So that would have
that's
been literally
yeah,
the
yeah.
first sketch.
No, that's just the sketch to like start with a bang. What were the other ones?
Guy Heaven.
Ah,
So they've got
that
like
was.
and then it's the Mark Zuckerberg one,
Hmm.
and then Cop
So
Killer.
So you have well, it's kind of a Fed posty episode out of all of them, you see, because I mean, first one, it's not Fed posty, it kind of is. I want to get into the deeper meaning, I think, of the first sketch,
Mm,
and then you have Cop Killer,
yeah.
like the song, which is basically about if you follow MDE, if you know anything about MDE, is one of the things they do great is like they make these like death threat stuff, but like they do it in such a way that it's like legal, like they
Yeah.
can't be sued for it.
Yeah.
Like the Mark Zuckerberg one, that's basically a very elaborate death, like the John Oliver shout out, that's basically an elaborate.
Yeah.
I don't want to say death threat because I don't want to accuse them of threatening people because they weren't, but
Yeah.
it can be misconstrued that way. That's basically the point.
Mm.
It can be misconstrued
It's
that
a
way, where they kind of take a
joking threat type
yeah.
thing.
There's another MD video which is about like knife attack, where Charles is teaching how
Yes.
to knife people, and they like
Yeah.
mention a former Bank of America CEO. Like,
Yes.
don't kill this guy. Don't kill him. Don't
Yeah.
kill me. I am blah 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 from Bank of America, former CEO of Bank of America. Don't kill me. This is where I was. Don't kill me.
Yeah.
So that's just general history of AMD. But that sketch, like opening up with that will have been a banger. Another thing
Mm.
before we kind of start getting into the show, like actual thing.
Mm.
I looked at the ratings list in Wikipedia. I know it's not really reliable, but seems like it had decent ratings. I'm not gonna say they had amazing, but it seems like they have pretty decent
Mm.
ratings. It's like each episode was viewed around 1 million times.
Yeah.
From the television and whatnot, which pretty good for a uh, trash TV channel such as Adult Swim.
Yeah.
I know people like Adult Swim, but I think it's trash. Uh,
Yeah. I think it's like every now and then there's like a show on it that's okay, but a lot of the time, yeah, it is pretty just it's just lame. Like I'm pretty sure like is Rick and Morty on on Adult Swim.
I think so.
Yeah, well, there you
Well,
go.
the funniest thing about this is that one of the episodes it's called "Mad at Dad." Go mad for Chad McPow, and that's where the Micro Machines Gub Gub Snail Man skit is from.
Yes, yes,
It's so fitting. Like they have all of these incoherent episode titles, and
mm,
some of them are just like very fitting.
yeah,
And yeah, I can see episode 5, the production code is 101.
yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
whereas episode 1 is the production code is 105. So yeah, I see that
Yeah.
that it is indeed good. So what do you want to start with?
Um, let's do them in release order. I think that's
Sure.
probably the I don't know, coherent way to do it. Um, oh, I was gonna say something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll start. Yeah. So episode 1. So it opens up with, in many ways, what's the most I don't know, confusing sketch. Like we're not exactly sure.
Incomprehensible, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. But it's the workout sketch. So Charles is going into a gym and he's flirting with a girl, but then he injures his back, so he takes the what's it called, fuzzy content.
Yeah, something like that that's like injected in his body and it's just like calms down from his back pain and then he turns into a monster.
Yeah.
And right when the episode ends, you can hear a girl screaming
Mm.
basically with like cursed music. The general theme of the show, really, when you think about it, is that all of these sketches are in some post-apocalyptic-ish um, fever world, you could
Yeah.
say. Like it's coherent, but there's something about it that's not coherent at its like
Mm.
it's in reality, but it's also not. It's like you will see in a dream, but it's not a dream. It's real. Like what's happening here.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it's seen. Like every single sketch, every single one of them, it has its eeriness, and that's really great. I think kind of
Yeah. And I
reflects
think
the state of the world.
yeah, and I think that's what really works about it is as you don't necessarily want to always just talk about the message when it comes to comedy things because that kind of like can maybe dilute the comedy, but it
Yeah,
is like a genuinely subversive show and also extremely funny. And it's
yeah,
when's the last time there was something that was genuinely and not subversive obviously in the as we would
bad sense.
understand it as right wing people or whatever, but subversive as in against the actual neo-liberal establishment, we'll call it.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
and
And
then there are just silly sketches as well, like Guy Heaven and things like that.
yeah, I think Guy Heaven is kind of like making fun of the or like the because there's some people in the gym like they just don't care about they just make a lot of noise and
Yeah,
they dream about the gym being like exactly what they want to be, but they don't act like it. That's kind of like
yeah, yeah,
I like my gym to be quiet, and then he's
yeah,
just like and he's like following all the meme advices like drink a gallon of milk, right? Like you see a
yeah,
lot of fitness people talking about you need to drink. I'm not counter signaling milk, by the way. I'm just saying that he's like over exaggerating it basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so then we're up to the bullying sketch. So this is a classic. Well, they're
Oh
all
yeah,
classics,
you
but
want to explain it? Yeah, you want to explain it?
yeah, yeah, okay. So it's framed as a news report of Sam going to a school, and his costume is amazing. Um, I think the other thing generally we should mention is the production is so good.
Insanely good.
The costumes are always so good. The sets are like the most creative sets that I can think of for I don't know so many things. Like and the sets complement the themes and the ideas and the costumes are always so surreal. It's just so well done. But anyway, in this one, Sam's wearing his this like what do you call it? Like
The
velvet red
shiny
suit.
red suit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
red suit, and he's going and he's talking to the principals of this principal and vice principal of this school, and talking about how they've hired like a bully to bully people in the schools to keep order within the school. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's very Principal
And when
do
you
know.
listen to the principles, yeah, principal don't know and principal don't know thing,
Yeah.
and it's pretty clear that it's about how the kind of liberal world order is essentially protecting evil people, and they're trying to make people come in line
Yeah.
by making their lives miserable. So it's kind of like
Yes.
this very their priorities are incredibly messed up. Instead of trying to like fix people, they just try to mess people up and hope they fix themselves up.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's kind of in that way, and it's also there's some kind of racial commentary too, because one of the students that gets bullied is a black guy who's a who's a very calm mannered black kid who cares about the class, and just because he raises his hand during class to speak, he follows the rules, he gets bullied, right? And the principal's like, yeah, you can't be a fly gangster if you raise your hand. Or
Yeah.
this like very pasty, like small white guy who's like, apparently I will be a horrible person if I
Yes.
just live like this, where they basically blaming people who live orderly lives and want them to
Yeah.
like be these chaotic, disgusting, TikTok using,
Yeah.
idiotic, retarded hell spawns. That's what they
Yeah.
want to create. That's basically what the skit is about.
Yeah. And
Is
I think it's summed up in what Sam says at the end, where he says, "Make them all equal."
yeah,
Yeah, and that's sort of the idea. Is
yeah, it's
it's like the idea of equality rather than raising up. Obviously,
mm-hmm,
we have our issues with equality in general, but the idealistic idea of equality is raising everyone up to a higher standard. But how it's obviously being done, as we see um, in our society, is it's just pushing people down, so they're all like in the dirt, basically.
trying to push everyone to the lowest common denominator,
Yeah.
and the people that make it over them are the ones pushing those people down, right? That's another thing. It's like, look at the principals, nothing's happening to them. They're the ones pushing the kids down,
Yeah.
and they remain up basically.
Yeah.
Uh, there was another thing that I kind of thought of, but I think I basically forgot what I was about to say. So doesn't matter. I'll probably remember it.
Oh
I'll probably
well,
remember it
if you
2 hours
remember it,
after this
yeah.
thing's done.
Oh well. And then we have the the prostitutes.
Yes. You wanna? Yeah, you can explain that if you want, or I can explain
You
it.
can do this
If
one.
I explain, okay, I'm gonna explain a very flowery colored language to give you a nice little impression. So we have three stupid femoids. One of them is a fat, disgusting, not so fat, but she's fat. She's disgusting, and the two other ones are like basically stupid bitches. And the the cutest one, the blonde chick, suggest them, hey, maybe we should hire male prostitutes. And other girls like, what? We can't do that. It's like, no, 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 not like that. It's gonna be non-sexual, right? We're gonna hire
Yeah.
these prostitutes and live out our non-sexual fantasies. And so the blonde chick basically lives out the fantasy of being the nerdy girl in high school
Yeah.
who's into the jock, right?
Yeah.
And the jock's basically not giving her attention. Basically says, I'm just gonna get laid after the game. If you're there, you're there. If not,
And then
I don't
yeah.
know, you crazy kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
These the other girl, which is basically just I like to call those kinds of girls the standard bitch, right? The standard bitch girls. They like standard normies, okay?
Yeah.
Standard
Yeah.
normie
Yeah.
femoid. And she's like, I always wanted to get on with a gay guy, like just being
Yeah.
sexually ignored and stuff. So this is Sam, right? Sam is
Yeah.
playing as the gay guy, and he's just like complaining about the dresses she has, and he's like acting oblivious about the sexual nature of the dresses basically because they're small. She's like, how are these dresses so small? You're big. This is
Yeah.
not for you. You're big. Are you retarded? um, and the third one, that's just horrible. You just have Nick and this disgusting bitch, and he's like totally not into it because this girl's like way in over her. Her whole thing is about, oh, I'm gonna get a new house. I'm gonna, you know, you're gonna give me advice. You're gonna tell me what to do. So she wants a man to tell her what to do,
Mm.
but obviously she doesn't want to live life that way. She doesn't want to
Yeah.
live the life of a man telling her what. She wants to enjoy, a man telling her what to do
Yeah.
without getting the rest of the package. See,
Yeah.
and the skit ends with the police raiding all of these women's houses,
Yeah.
and one of them to the police to the blonde girl says, you guys are gonna get a life sentence. I'm thinking 6,000 years, and I'm gonna set up an alarm clock to see you getting executed
Yeah.
with electric chair or whatever,
Yeah.
and I hope you blonde girls get it first. Like
Yeah.
really, and the idea is like, and afterwards you have the male prostitutes crying
Yeah.
after the whole ordeal was done, because it basically reminded. I think the idea is that it reminded them of being friend zoned, and so they're pretty much
Mm.
depressed. And what I really love about the skit is this is just realistic. I mean, this is just 80%, 90% of male female relationships that don't end up in a actual relationship. They're all like this. Okay, they're
Mm.
basically all like this, where the man is trying to sexually ignore her, but he can't, and the girl likes to be sexually ignored because it gives the false idea that
Yeah.
he has higher standards, but the reality is he's just trying to hide himself, because we all know the moment these idiots said, "I like you, let's go out," they're just going to shut them down because they want puppies. They want male slave puppies,
Yeah. Yeah. It's about
according.
women's women like abusing men for, you're just like stringing men along, and the way women like to get male attention just for the sake of getting attention. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
In some of the cases, in other cases, it's the lack of attention is what they like, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone, like for example, in the case of the blonde girl, everyone, she's obviously a popular chick, right?
Yeah.
So she doesn't care about all the simps and white knight dudes who
Mm.
think they're gonna get laid. She wants the guy who doesn't care about her because it makes him look
Yes.
high status, right?
Yeah.
That's why that's why a lot of people I hear them, it's like, oh, don't show attention to the girl. And it's like, no, the reason why it works isn't because you are mean or you neglect her. The reason why it works is because it makes her think you have standards. That's the whole reason it
Mm.
works. And some people think, oh, it's because you're mean, bro. Like girls like men who are
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mean. It's like you're a dumbass. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah. It's the and then this is the amazing thing I find about this show is like the sketches all sort of tie into each other thematically. So like the sort of the sort maybe not the inverse, but there's the sketch later on, obviously the pickup artist sketch, where it's like it's talking about it this sort of thing almost from like the male perspective of like how men go about trying to get women and like how they just completely you know don't understand it. But anyways, we'll keep going. That's the end of basically the first episode, and I love because I love the when the cops come in and like bust these girls. It's basically just supposed to be like a cathartic moment of the frustration of um, dealing with annoying women all the time, and finally they get a comeuppance in some sort of some form of media, basically.
Basically, it's incel uprising, bro.
Yeah,
It's basically incel uprising.
yeah,
That's
um,
kind of the idea behind it.
yeah. So moving along, episode 2, we have the wall sketch, which this is one of the longest sketches probably in the whole show, and it's set up as this like fake British talk show or something, or like game show, um, about these like women trying to get a date with a man or something like that, and this is one of the best sets as well, and it's got probably some of the best makeup and stuff on Sam and Nick, and it's just their parody of like this like extremely heightened bizarre parody of like what a British like late night host would be on TV, which I love. Um, and then yeah, the women are just all obviously it's called the Wall Show because of the wall, and the
They
editing and
all hit
everything
the
is
wall.
great. Yeah, go for it.
And yeah, and you look at the characters. Well, the serious character is the first candidate one, which is like
Mm.
I don't know how to describe her. She kind of just looks like a bit of an old, tattered, battered up woman, but she still looks like a normal, like six. She's like 6 out of 10. Got some tattoos that kind of gives the vibe that she's a bit trashy, but she's trying to make herself not look trashy.
Yeah.
You know what she reminds me of? You know what she reminds me of? She reminds me of. Here's what she reminds me of. She reminds me of a lot of women I see on Twitter. Okay, she really reminds me of a lot of women I see on Twitter, especially
Mm.
right-wingish women, because
Mm.
get what she's always saying. She's like, "Oh, I want a man who's gonna man up and take care of business." She basically wants a alpha Chad,
Yeah.
right? That's basically what she was. She's like, "Oh, you gotta be a man for me. You gotta look after yourself and all that kind of stuff." And the best reply was from Steve, who's the male candidate. He's basically saying, well, one of the best replies that, well, kind of one-sided. She doesn't really give me anything. She doesn't really show me anything that,
Yeah.
you know, why she deserves me.
Yeah.
Now, the advice he gives is trash. Like, go get a nice job, go to college. Those
Well, that's like a
don't give
joke
that advice to a
advice.
woman. Yeah, it's like I don't care what you're gonna do with your life
Yeah.
kind of advice. But she really does remind me a lot of kind of like the right wing ish woman you see
Yeah.
online,
Yeah,
where
broadly that sort of
like their whole life
mid to
they're
late
alcoholics,
20s, yeah, mid to
yeah,
late 20s e-girl, and then they get on
and then they
Twitter and
wind her,
they're talking about like, oh, I just read Evola or something, and then they get like 50,000 likes, and it's just like
like they say,
low effort.
yeah, if people like her today probably are getting a crap ton of likes from doing
Mm.
nothing,
Yeah.
basically. um, she's basically one of the worst characters. Like not in terms of the show production or whatever. Like worst characters in terms of
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
people like her are the worst. I
Yeah.
really don't like those kinds of people. I won't mind her. I won't mind people like that if they knew they hit the verbal wall and stuff like
If
that,
they're more
and they kind of
self-aware.
were more, yeah. But she's like absolutely not. So she's like, well, first of all, I'm not a princess. I'm a queen.
Yeah.
I can act ladylike, but I can also act not ladylike. It's like, then you're not a ladylike, stupid bitch. Like, what are you talking about? I don't want you. Get out of my house. Like, get out of here. But the
And
other
is
woman
it
I also
Sam
think,
that says, or is it Nick that says, why do you deserve that?
oh, I think Sam is like, tell me, why do you deserve that? With like a silly
Yeah.
smirk.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Nick, when she's giving advice to one of the young girls,
Yeah.
she's like, don't rush. She's like,
Yeah. It's like, what are
what
you
the fuck
talking
are you
about?
talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like you're 29, you're gonna be 30, you're gonna be 38. It's like, what are you gonna do? And it just gives this, just beats her down and nearly makes her cry by just saying stuff like, you had too many accidents and all that kind of stuff. And the other female candidate is a black lady. Now, what's interesting about her is that she's basically getting disability checks. Yeah, I think the joke is like so evident. I don't have to say it. This
No.
I get disability. I get more disability. And also she gets ignored generally. Like
Yeah.
she gets minimum airtime. I think the kind of message here is kind of like, haha, we're doing a little funny
Yeah.
racism,
Yeah.
like we're ignoring the black person, the only
Yeah.
black character here. But then
Um.
there's another funny line where she says, "I don't cheat. I don't ever cheat," and then
Oh.
she says, "I do cheat." Ah.
You lied to us.
And the funniest part about that, I've seen black women on Twitter say that. I've seen black women on Twitter exactly do that. It's like, I don't like men who cheat. And then someone found another post where it's like, I cheated on him and now I'm glad. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
they,
I
they
think
literally made her real.
yeah, I think what makes this show like special is like literally every other piece of media that exists in the last 10, 15 years is just making fun of men, making fun of every different sort of man, making fun of, weak men, strong men, blah blah blah. And finally we have a show that's actually making fun of women for once and making fun of the neuroses and pathology of women. And I think that's what makes this show so refreshing. And the thing is, there's nothing else has come along that does, nothing else could come along, obviously, but
Yeah, what show makes fun of women? Like
none.
no one. Not even the not even right wing people do that anymore. Like you'd be hard pressed to find even a YouTube video anymore, like
Yeah,
making fun of neurotypical stupid demoids
yeah,
that try to ruin people's lives. No one does that anymore.
yeah,
Uh, that's a relic of 2016,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
But everything that's said about like it's true. Like it's genuinely true.
yeah.
And like I'm basing this not off online purely, by the way. Like I'm basing this from what I've seen in real life, what I've seen men do, what I've seen women do, and
Mm,
that's probably why Million Dollar Extreme generally is great because they're willing to kind of just uh make fun of everything, but when they make fun of it, they basically they basically accept all of their premises kind of, and
mm,
then just you know then just kind of show that their premises are as stupid as they are.
yeah, yeah. They call things out like all the empty platitudes. Certainly, like all that empty platitudes that woman was saying about like like, I'm a queen or whatever, and they just sort of they
Just make
point
fun
out
of it. It's like,
yeah,
oh, I didn't know we were in the presence of royalty. And like,
yeah, which is great. And then there's another very quick sketch which we will not mention too much about, the Jews rock sketch, and
it
it's a,
was supposed to be Juice Rule. That's basically what it is.
yep.
Then it changed to Juice Rock. Well, we forgot about female Charles.
Oh
I think that's
yeah,
pretty important too in that sketch. Female Charles. I think female Charles is supposed to be an actual female. It's just
yeah.
that Charles happened to play
I
because
think they must have wanted like at least one of the women to be played by one of them, so then they could put in actual
I
funny
think
lines and like improv.
I think the main reason actually is because only Charles could have said stuff like that because a lot of what he says, like it's very unself-aware, right?
Yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah,
basically saying it's like, oh, one day you just like going with someone and then like someone appears out of nowhere and suddenly you're with him. Like he's
yeah,
basically representing like total sluts, like absolute
yeah,
total slags that just care about themselves and they just want to like female Charles just like he genuinely thinks he's a queen, right?
yeah,
Mechanic
yeah,
number one, she probably doesn't think of herself as a queen. She just acts that way.
yeah. On the
Charles
TV
actually
show,
thinks she
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
Charles actually acts like that. But he's but like a woman cannot play that character. Basically, only Charles could have
Mm,
played. That's
mm,
I think that's why they played like made him play that because like I'm just thinking a female actor saying the things Charles say.
mm. It
No
wouldn't
way.
carry the
Like
same sort of irony.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of people. I think some people thought, oh, he's a MTF. It's like no, I don't
No,
think he's
no.
playing that role.
Because
I
2016, it wasn't even like that big of a thing at that point, which is crazy to think about now.
I will say it kind of is. It kind of was not as much as today, but
Yeah.
I don't think they were going for that angle. I don't think they have any like transsexual like stuff
No,
in
no,
World Peace.
no.
I think it's the only reason they played Charles there is as I said, it's only he could say those things.
Yeah, yeah. And then the final sketch is the CEO sketch.
Yeah, that's just I mean I don't know how to explain that one. It's just Eric Hayden
Yeah,
uh
going
living a horrible
ballistic.
life and getting mad and he's taken a lot of drugs and getting hyped up. Like that's basically
Yeah.
well, that's the whole sketch. It's supposed to show the depressive conditions of work in the 21st century.
Mm. I think particularly also it's about like small business owners and how stressful that
Yeah,
would be because everything. I mean, it would be particularly in the United States is set up to help big businesses, big global businesses and stuff, rather than people, more independent, smaller businesses. And so it's. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily that political or economic, but it is just sort of about the stress of running a business. I think.
yeah. It's pretty much about stress mostly.
Hmm.
And it's mostly like it's a visual, like this one is like it's funny because of its visuality, like
Hmm.
that's where the comedy is. It's not something you can really describe. It's like, oh, he
He looks
he
angry.
yeah, he drops coffee all over his pants because the laptop isn't responding properly. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's it. Like,
Yeah. I always find like the size of his headphones very funny in this sketch. Like they're the biggest headphones that they
oh,
probably could have gotten their hands on.
it's basically American Psycho.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's what it is. It's basically it's American Psycho, except it's like middle class
yeah,
American Psycho.
yeah. It's very similar vibes to that for sure. Um, all right, well that's episode 2. So episode 3, we have the breakups in this episode.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
these are
yeah.
amazing. These are some of the so much stuff in them. So, um, we've got Sam, Charles, and Nick each get broken up with by this girl, and it's sort of like
Their reactions to it.
yeah,
That's
different sort of
basically
ways
what's
to deal with
yeah.
different sort of ways you can deal with breakups, I guess. Um,
Sam's is the most alpha Chad one. He just starts calling her a bitch, a hoe, and then
yeah,
like just starts talking about how great he is. That's
you always was a
basically.
silly hoe. I
You
love.
know how I used
I
to
say
sing the
that,
alphabet?
yeah,
A B C D E F. You know how it goes. G.
Gee.
You treated me like you would treat a dog. I'm a motherfucking dog in this shit.
And I love what does he say? If you first of all, I'm gonna put you through that wall. If you and
It's
if
like it's, if you lied to me once,
oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna put your I'm gonna put your face through a motherfucking wall. You lied to me twice,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna start
start
screaming.
screaming.
I'm gonna start screaming on that ass. I'll be like, I'll be
Ah!
like, oh. That's the last thing you'll ever hear, bitch.
Yeah,
The way he says it, Sam does the African American accent so well. He's
yeah,
really good at that.
yeah. Um, yeah,
He's kind of like a light skinned badass kind of one too.
yeah,
He's not
yeah.
like dark skin. He's like a light skinned black
It's like
person.
a weirdly particular. Yeah, he's playing like a. It's almost like an old head, one of those more like conservative Republican black guys or something like that. It's like a now let me teach you here, young brother, about what's going on in the world sort of character.
I think it's kind of just some like gang banger alpha Chad guy who's just like I don't know, like he just thinks he's great. That's basically kind of
Yeah,
the vision
which is
for
good.
this man.
And then we have the Charles one, who is the motorcycle guy, and I don't know what. He's kind of just like a crazy schizoid beta type character.
Yeah, the idea is that he's a bit like we kind of have to get understand. I think that a lot of the like their reaction is the it represents the internal reaction that a lot of people have. That's
Yeah,
basically so Sam is kind of like the alpha chat. He's like, oh fuck this bitch. I'm better than her anyway. She didn't deserve me. And just like
yeah,
once he just blows off steam, it's like whatever, you know.
yeah,
Uh, it's all about how good he is, right?
yeah,
Whereas Charles, he's the beta, right? Like he gets really
yeah,
mad and like he's like he thinks of killing her, then he thinks of killing himself.
yeah.
He starts reminiscing about past memories. Basically, this
Mm,
beta's whole life was that girl, and
yeah,
this girl just destroyed it because she probably realized, oh, this guy's a beta. I don't like this
yeah,
guy. Screw
yeah.
this guy. That's basically what she.
And then Nick has the Sigma reaction.
Oh, we should probably edit it with the Sigma male music, like.
That would be
And
actually now that would be a
the
good
best
OC.
part, the best part is like right before she says we're gonna break up, Nick like leans in for a kiss, like a very
Yeah,
dirty one too, and he's like,
yeah,
no, 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 no. This isn't working. And just like goes to his car and smashes, just like crashes into her house.
yeah. Um, yeah, and I think there's such a good trilogy of sketches because yeah, like you said, it is sort of about just different ways of dealing with a breakup.
And
Um,
the names of the Peanut Arbuckle.
yeah, oh, and that
Like
Sam one is so funny.
my
Like,
name is Doorway. They call me
yeah,
Doorway. They call me Silver Bullet.
and that's something I
uh,
don't know if we mentioned it, but like most of the dialogue is like improv or semi-improv, and that and I hate a lot of I hate most improv comedy. Most of it sucks because they don't know how to edit it and they're not actually funny. A lot of these people, but obviously the MDE people are funny, and then also they've got excellent editors, and so everything just flows together so well. And they always cut things like, and that you see so many times people like breaking out of character, which adds a lot of personality to the show.
yes,
Um,
that's kind of just what MD does. Sam does that a lot, like
yeah,
breaking the fourth wall. That's
yeah,
like it's you're gonna expect him to do that all the time, and he's doing it. So he
yeah,
doesn't like fully commit in this imaginary world. He
mm,
just always breaks the fourth wall.
mm.
There's like, let me find all the names he comes up. So he's like, they call me Argon, they call me Dark Child, they call me Nightmaster, they call me Peabody, they call me Peanut Arbuckle, they call me Doorway, they call me Pink Dress, they call me Sweezy, they call me Go-Go Nuts, they call me Pineapple Man. I feel like there's something in those names, but I remember seeing something like that, but I think one of those names was about 8chan, but I don't know which one.
uh, it's interesting. Um, yeah, it is just funny. Like when it's clear he's like sort of run out of immediate ideas, and he just says, "They call me doorway," because that's like what he's looking at. They call me pink dress because the girl's wearing a pink dress, and that always
Yeah,
makes
they
me
call me
laugh.
Pink Dress.
Yeah,
And she was laughing too, and they
yeah.
added it.
Um,
uh,
yeah. So that's the breakup, and then next we've got the tap water sketch,
oh,
which is sort of like the most unique sketch because
mm-hmm.
it's the only one where they're sort of playing themselves kind of, and it's just like, oh, what's Charles up to? He's just making some tap water basically.
Yeah. And
And
Charles is adding all of those cancerous, like
yeah,
poisonous stuff in it. Like what does he add? Do you remember?
he adds well, like the cigarette butt.
Yeah.
um he adds like birth control pills.
Yeah,
He
it's like
adds
sometimes
fluoride.
I don't know if it's a testosterone thing,
Yeah.
but sometimes an angry populace starts flipping cars and kill politicians, and I hate that shit. You can't have that.
Yeah. So I think that yeah, this sketch is. I mean, it's the obvious thing is that it's about how tap water is probably not good for you,
Poisonous.
that the government puts stuff in it to control your brain, which is true. Let's just say it. It's very true, but but beyond that, it's also just about the way that the government is extremely incompetent and like as they say, how the government operates is they're basically just like fucking you in the ass the whole time because you pay
Yeah,
taxes and then
you
you
get
don't get
nothing in
anything.
return.
You get nothing, and if anything, nothing would be better than this. This sometimes the situation. Um, it'd be good to pay taxes for them to leave you alone, but they don't even leave you alone anymore. So yeah,
Hmm.
and I just love the way it
But
edits in the men kissing.
I actually don't like it at all. I think it's really cursed. But um, I don't I don't I forgot. But yeah, it's much more it's much more than tap water.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
about
yeah.
anything the government's supposed to provide, and they provide nothing. And the people are there's also a comment about like really high taxes because people pay really high taxes back then when in the 20th century, 19th century, if you had to pay high taxes, you will kill people. That's the
Yeah.
idea basically. Whereas in the 21st century, you just take it in the butt.
Yeah.
You don't care. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, tax me more. People are people are voting politicians that are gonna tax them more. Like
Yeah.
that's how screwed up. Like that's how stupid people are now,
Yeah.
and that's basically how gay they've become.
And you hear that a lot with a lot of libtarded people, as they'll say, "Oh, I'm happy to pay more taxes if it's going to pay for X, Y, and Z," or "Oh, I'm happy to do my part." And it's like, well, number one, X, Y, and Z doesn't happen. Like nothing gets done by you paying more taxes, except for you lose more money,
Yeah,
basically.
you could have done it yourself, basically.
Mm.
um, yeah, it's probably one of the best sketches for sure. It's one of the very good ones. One of what
Mm.
people will call a classic.
It's the most openly subversive one.
Political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the very, very final one.
And as I said, they're very good at the haha. It's a death threat, but not really stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one too. It's about like killing politicians, and then he
Yeah.
says, "Oh, I hate that shit. You can't have that."
Yeah. It's very much that sort of,
Where
you
where
know,
like the listener is supposed to kind of think, maybe he has a point.
yeah.
It's like when you say it that way.
Yeah. So
Uh,
so it's like presented ironically, but it's intended unironically a lot of the time, or certain aspects are intended unironically.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's the tap sketch. Then we have the teacher sketch, which I love. That's one of my personal favorites. Um, and there's a lot of little funny lines in it, but it's more just it's nice to just take a shit on teachers sometimes. Um,
Which the next sketch?
the teacher
Which
one.
one? Ah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can talk about
Yeah, yeah. So
that.
this one is basically Nick is a teacher, and it's sort of in this surreal classroom, which is like on a slope, and this very steep slope, and it's a voiceover while like he keeps sort of pacing up and down the classroom and like walking around, and he looks all disheveled, and it's really just about how teachers are in this cushy job, and they don't really do anything, and the teachers sort of delude themselves into thinking that they help people when really they're just tools of the government and tools of lazy parents, a lot of the time. And yeah, it's really just specifically about teachers, how they're a lot of problems with the profession of teaching. What do you think?
Yeah, there's a good quote there, which where Nick says, uh, "It's bad when the kids are smarter than I am."
Yeah.
Where it's true, most of the kids are smarter than the teacher. All the teacher is doing is just regurgitating the mindless stuff, and
Mm,
it's kind of just it's pretty much about how education today is just
mm,
trash,
yeah.
and like it's a first 3 months Holocaust, next 3 months Black History Month, and then last final exams. It's like
Yeah.
it's basically like it's not about teaching people how to think. It's not about actually educating.
Yeah.
It's about just teaching people stuff they're gonna forget a week later,
Yeah.
and some basic baby stuff that even parents will teach, and you can learn yourself. Probably
Yeah.
you'll learn yourself, right?
Yeah.
And that's basically what school has become. It's a fundamentally anti-school kind of a
Yeah.
presentation, I believe, and it's very good, very
Yeah.
correct. And it's also that it kind of has a line to it's like, oh, the young girls aren't doing it for me anymore. It's all those handsome jocks. It's like
Mm,
looking at the man, and he's like he wishes he was him. He wishes he was them. He
mm,
wishes he was those kind of like teenage alpha men that no, that understand from that point that school is a waste of time and they're just there to have fun, and
Yeah, yeah,
they know that they're gonna make it in life anyway because it's not school that matters. It's you know it's kind of stuff that's vain, looking good, lifting weights,
yeah,
being able to speak properly instead of being a bumbling beta cuck.
yeah,
All of these things are what's going to have you make it. That's you're gonna have fun living a life like that, or at least that's what they think. And it's much better than just being a stupid beta teacher.
yeah, yeah. And that's the other thing about this. Another thing, like the way that in lots of media, when teachers are made fun of, it's like um, it's very much like
No one,
about the specific teacher. Like maybe there's a specifically bad teacher, but there's always also like a good teacher. Whereas this like is attacking the profession itself and like the system itself,
yes,
which is yeah, it's
yes.
really really good. And
No one respects teachers anymore. Like, man,
yeah,
why would you?
yeah,
I don't respect them.
no,
It's like you're a teacher because you failed at getting the job you wanted. Good job. Like, that's why you're a teacher.
basically.
I wish
Uh,
I was wrong,
you wish you were
but I'm
what?
not wrong. I wish I was wrong, but I'm not wrong. Teachers,
There are
teachers
some
are
people.
teachers because they failed.
No,
They're
well,
failures,
there's lots of people that want to be teachers nowadays, at
and they're
least.
sick in they're sick in the head.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You want to be a teacher? Get a YouTube channel. That's how you become a teacher.
True, yeah. Like if you want to actually like help people learn things, yeah, do it independently. People that want to
Exactly.
be teachers, it's like they want to be
You want to be a slave
perpetually
to
like within this state of like a high school movie
mediocrity.
or something. Yeah, it's very disturbing.
Hmm.
And that's episode 3 covered. All right, episode 4. So the episode 4, the sketches that are throughout it, there's placed throughout it these like sort of auditions of like these women coming up and singing, and then Nick and Sam are on an audition panel, and these are exceedingly funny. These are very funny. So the first one, and generally, they're just obviously making fun of the delusions that people have about, oh, I'm a good singer. I can be like, oh, maybe I could be a singer or something like that. And yeah, they just make fun of it in different ways.
Yeah, the and they're not like auditioning them because they're good singers. It's because the girls look good. That's why they even bothered to listen. When the
Mm.
fat woman came in, the fat girl came in. They just played some crap, like I don't
Beats.
even know what it is. Just some crap beats, yeah. And she was just looking at them.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you doing this?
My favorite bit from that sketch is it's the third girl, and Sam asks her, "Oh, how did you get so like wise and experienced?" And she says, "Oh, reincarnation, maybe."
Yeah, the facial reaction to that is it's like, oh, you dumb bitch.
uh, so yeah, that's really
I
good.
don't really have much to add.
No.
Like in my opinion, it's one of the more like it's like below average. I was like,
Mm. I mean, I find it
well,
kind of funny, but yeah, there's not much to it, like thematically.
yeah. It's just it's about making fun of like the American Voice or whatever TV
Yeah,
show they
yeah,
have.
yeah. Um, and then we have we'll spend some time with this one, the wheelchair, the pickup artist one.
Oh, that's a classic. That's the best one. Who's gonna enjoy explaining it to the fellas for those who haven't heard?
I'll give this one to you. I'll give this one to you. You're the expert in this field.
Oh man. Okay, I'm the, I'm the, I'm the, incel expert. I'm not incel, by the way. Um, So
You heard it here first on Flooded Cinema.
yes,
David
yes.
confirmed fake cell.
I'm. I am not any cell. I am in a cell with a cell. Anyways, uh, so you have a disabled man bounded in a wheelchair, who's that's filled with no GF,
Mm,
and he basically hits up this guy called Trex, who's this like basically represents the PUA guy.
yeah.
But Trex is like he's like genuinely degenerate. Like he has a boyfriend and all that kind of stuff, and he's like
This
he
is my
says
boyfriend.
some of the wackiest, disgusting lines you'll ever heard in your life, and that's how he gets girls apparently. And the whole sketch, it has some really iconic quotes. Like Trex, which is played by Sam Hyde, by the way. It's Sam Hyde playing. It's only him that can play this role.
Mm.
He like meets her. It's like, bro, whoa, bro. I expected you to be normal size. You're micro machines. It's like, uh, thankfully, I know what it takes to get some pussy.
It's
It's like, it, it doesn't matter if you're disabled. These are two extra dicks. And it just like completely screws with him. But anyways, this wheelchair bound man, he's a beta guy, which can't kind of blame him. He's
yeah,
you know he's disabled. You know he
yeah.
wants a GF. You know like what can you do sometimes? So they go to this store. They meet up with Trex's boyfriend,
Man.
Nitro Dubs. Very not very obvious homage to the owner of 8chan, Nitro Dubs, who is
Mm.
wheelchair bound in real life. If you didn't know any of this, by the way, um,
Ah.
yeah, 8chan was a website that came from 4chan because 4chan was too, tame for their taste. You know, it's a very apt way of describing it. And the owner of 8chan is Hot Wheels. His name is Hot Wheels.
Ah, right, right.
Brandon Hot Wheels. He's, as I said, he's disabled, so he's, he's also wheelchair bound. So Nitro Dubs is basically a very evident homage to him, and they're trying to swag this kid out by dressing him with stuff. The best part is when he's giving the names, right? It's like the name that I
No,
and Trent
there's a
will call
line
you.
that I really like before that where so they
Uh,
go into the
this is
store.
the last time you're gonna look this gay in your life.
All right, let's swag out. Major league swag out.
Major League swag out. All right, Robbie, look at the mirror right now because this is the last time you're gonna look this gay.
And
And then it's
obviously
like
the
doing
irony is like he's dressed fine, and like the way they dress him up is just absurd.
yeah, they dress him up horribly. It's like Gucci makes the finest red pants in the mall, in a black person mall. And then they give him the names like the name you will have that I and Trix will call you is like Tina's, and then it's like your
Oh,
secret name
yeah.
that only I will know is like whatever, and then the really secret name that neither him and Trex will call him is David Duke.
And the way Sam looks at the camera in that moment is like, it's so good.
Like he knows very well what he's doing, and that's the best part. Like when I heard that for the first time, I was probably going insane and how funny it was.
Mm.
Uh, and then they try to teach Trex. I just remembered what I forgot to mention in the wall show, but let's move on.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they go to Sam's got his with bitches with a Z at the end of it, right?
Mm.
He's he gets into his bitches and he say, I just spent a lot of time and money making my protege. Now go to this girl and say, I'm that gorilla dick chigga. I make that I make that cat's vet.
You
He
censor
gets
pussy, but
whatever.
you don't censor saying the D word.
What?
I don't know.
I think
I don't know what you can get away with anyway. Whatever, we'll be fine.
yeah. I make but well you see, Dyke is an American name though. It's
It's a word. A
Dike.
dike is a thing like along a dam or a river. So
Yeah, yeah.
hence the name.
I know this because my favorite football team was interested in a football player called Dyke, and I'm like, oh, so Dyke is a name, cool. So I can say Dyke. I can say Dyke all I want. You're not gonna get in trouble, trust me.
All right. All right. All right then.
So I'm talking about I'm calling him what was his name? Richard Dyke or something like that. I don't know.
His name was Dick Dyke.
Dick Dyke. Really?
Oh well,
No
there's
way.
that guy Dick Van Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're
Well,
talking
well,
about. That's who we're talking about.
yeah, but the my Dyke is one with Dike.
Oh.
Dike.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, it
Anyways.
obviously doesn't work. And then he's like, okay, then this gorilla Dick Daddy is hungry. That's another quote he's trying to train him to say.
Yeah.
This gorilla Dick Daddy is hungry, and
Yeah.
if you don't blow me right, I might kill you. These insane schizoid lines.
Mm.
And when a guy bound in a wheelchair that's a beta says these things, it's obviously not gonna work. He's like,
Mm.
no thanks. It's just like just looks at it like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do with my life?
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for Mr. Nitro Dubs, for Mr. Brendan Nitro Dubs.
Mm.
Wait, Nitro Dubs what Mr. Shit King Shit Pussy, right? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Where you're thinking of what's his name? Robbie?
All right, Robbie. Yeah, yeah. Robbie's the wheelchair guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tex is the Mr. Shit King Shit cat.
Yeah.
But do you have anything else to add? Maybe I forgot something.
No. 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 But it's just like it's about how I guess like the pickup artist thing often misses the forest for the trees. Like
Yes.
it's like specific, like having all these like weird techniques. Like okay, maybe they can having techniques might give you the confidence so that if you use them, it helps you talk to a woman or helps you get with a woman or whatever. But it is more about number one, we'll say like your status and your looks, etc., etc. But then it's sort of about obviously your um, confidence and things like that. And so simply dressing up in a ridiculous way and saying obscene things to a woman, isn't gonna work all the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's like that's I always try to explain this to people that are like trying to get chicks where they're like, just act confident, just be confident, bro. Like then they say that kind of stuff, and it's like, if you're confident and you look like me, you're obviously gonna get a lot of chicks. That's why I get a lot of chicks. Okay. I don't. Uh, but that's because of another reason. But if you're gonna be like wheelchair bound, you're gonna look ugly. You're gonna be a manlet, right? And
Mm.
you like act like you're tough. Then no one's gonna believe you. It's like a very tight, like a 40 kilogram man who's 30 years old saying, "I'm gonna beat your ass."
Mm.
You're gonna beat your own ass. Like you're not gonna do anything to me.
It's
Uh,
it's like that meme where it's the woman in the office cubicle and like the Chad comes up there and is like, "Hey, Brenda, looking good," and then she's like,
yeah,
"Oh, thanks, Chad," and then like the creepy guy, well, not the creepy guy, but just the ugly guy is like, "Hey, Brenda, looking good," or whatever, and then she's like, HR, human resources.
yeah. Uh, exactly. It's like that's the kind of idea behind it is that Mr. Micro Machines is just not gonna it's not gonna work. What he does is not gonna work
Yeah,
because
he should just go after another girl in a wheelchair or something, I guess.
yeah, maybe he should try to act cute. Maybe that will work.
Mm.
Act like a cute little puppy. You know, girls love puppies.
Mm.
Love them so much they
Yes. Now, where are we up to? Oh, then we have the Miata sketch. So that's just, I think
The-
that's the cars. They're called Miatas, those
Uh,
cars. So that sketch is
yeah,
literally just making fun of people that drive Miatas and saying that they're gay.
yeah. I guess that's what it is about. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
that's funny.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get the skit.
And then we have the gambler skit, which
Yeah,
is Charles
just about
walking
the
in.
evil stuff landing. Yeah, walking into his house and
Yeah.
just getting smashed
Mm,
uh through the window.
mm,
Just flies there, and I guess it's about how like fathers who like gamble away all they have and go back to their home and they just lose everything. That's
yeah.
basically what
Yeah.
I think what it's about.
Mm.
It might be about his like the parenthood of one of the main cast members, right? Like maybe this is the father of I don't know Sam or Nick or Charles.
Yeah, this one seems more not necessarily about something. It seems like like more like about an aesthetic or a literary type thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's just
it,
because of the way the speech is, like the way he talks. Like what does he
yeah.
say?
I think it's and
Blackjack.
the aesthetics is pretty much a the aesthetics is basically like a 60s 80s one. It's like maybe
Mm.
even before 60s, might be like 40s or 50s.
50s. Yeah, I would. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it seems pretty 50s to me
Mm.
actually.
Um. Yeah, that's pretty much that sketch. And that's episode 4 done. So episode 5. Here we go. Uh, the dinner party.
So I think we already explained dinner party a little bit. Oh, well, it's just like guys having a fun time,
Hmm.
and then Nick just hates Sam's wife, and he just trips her and smashes her head with a glass, and then convinces Sam that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I think this skit is about? I think this skit is about USS Liberty. You might you might
I'm
know.
gonna come on your channel one day and be extremely unoptical, and we'll see how you like it. Okay.
What's an obstacle about a event? It's just something crazy happened. I think it's about that. Basically, it's about that.
It's about gaslighting.
It's kind of like that. It's basically like um, Sam's wife gets crushed
Yeah.
by Nick, but Nick is his brother, which signifies the
Mm.
alliance that
Mm.
the two how should I say it, two very Christian nations have,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
Nick just gets away with it. I think
I think
it's
that's
about
one interpretation. That's one level of interpretation of that sketch.
I mean it's like especially when Nick says, "Do we really have to go through the rigmarole?" I think that kind of really reminded me of that event. Like it's something you will expect them to say. It's like, "Do you really want to go all through all the rigmarole?"
Well, I had never considered that interpretation of the sketch, and it's something different to hear. Um, but yeah,
Well, what do
this
you
is
think?
classic.
What do you think?
Oh
What do
well,
you think?
I think it's sort of making fun of guys that marry where the wife is the more controlling one in the relationship or whatever. Like, is they describe her as well. He says like Sam says, when she asked me to marry me and I said yes, I made a commitment that day. So like she asked him to get married. So it's showing that he's sort of like this beta guy,
Yeah.
and it's sort of just making fun of that sort of relationship. And I think what Nick does, it's supposed to be it's similar to like when the women get arrested at the end of the prostitute sketch. It's sort of like this cathartic thing of like, oh, just a comeuppance of this really frustrating character in your life. Like if your brother married a really controlling woman or whatever, you would like, you could grow to hate her basically. So I think it's sort of about that kind of a thing. Um, yeah,
I
Nick is so
guess,
funny.
but Sam doesn't react. Like Sam doesn't go and help her. The first thing
Yeah.
Sam does is like try to convince himself that he's gonna help her.
Mm,
So that's another thing as well.
mm.
I I don't know. I just think I
It's
just
more
think it's about
esoteric.
special. Yeah, yeah.
I
It's something you will expect. You will expect something like that from Million Dollar Extreme.
True, true. I love the makeup on the woman after she's been like smashed through the glass table, and like
Yeah,
her face is just all bloody and the glass is like coming out of her face. And yeah, it's
and
yeah
she just got
effective.
destroyed.
Yeah, and then oh, excuse me. After that we have Guy Heaven.
Oh, it's probably one of the worst skits. I mean, I get the message, but it's like,
You think it's one of the worst ones?
yeah.
I think it's. I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's one of the best ones, but I find it very funny.
I mean, it can be funny and be one of the worst ones because it's a relative
True,
term.
true, true.
But I don't. It could have been much better. Like I don't hate what he was trying to do. It's just that it could have been much better. But I completely get like what the joke is.
Mm.
And I think I kind of explained what Guy Heaven was like. I think we started talked
Yeah,
about it in the
yeah, yeah.
beginning.
We sort of got a bit sidetracked at the beginning and already sort of half discussed episode 5. But yeah,
Yeah,
Guy Heaven. It's sort of just it's just like a playful parody of the sort of dude bro, gym bro, fit type character of someone that's sort of
hmm
um, what's the word? That it's not socially well adjusted, but they're all into their fitness stuff, I suppose.
yeah,
Basically,
kinda. And they try to be like alpha, but they're
yeah,
it's like I don't like a quiet gym, and all he does is shout and scream.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, there's not too much to say about that one. And then we have the
Yeah,
Facebook sketch, which again there isn't really too much to say about it. It's just sort of like I think it's just a cathartic thing for the audience to see Mark Zuckerberg, who's caused so much hell in like everyone's lives, to get a bit of a
getting killed.
comeuppance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
It's a mess. Good.
yeah. I mean, is there anything else you'd want to say about the Mark Zuckerberg one?
No, I
Yeah.
don't really have much to add.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Good
while
costumes.
we're thinking, the thing I forgot to mention in
The
the
wall.
wall skit, the other male candidate, Sam. Sam is
Oh
literally
yeah.
Sam is the incel guy. He's like, but he's like he's not like he's not the alpha incel, right? Alpha incels are like aggressive and all that. He's like a beta cuck. He's a redditor. He's an ugly, disgusting redditor. He's
Mm.
like, if you guys like me, then we can go. It's just
Yeah.
no one will. But that's the thing. It's that I think he will fit very well with candidate number one. Like that's the man that she actually deserves. That's the man she deserves.
That's true.
That she wants to leave.
Mm.
The lawyer, the
Mm.
guy who has a big house, you know. But anyway, that's what I forgot to mention that I managed to mention now.
Yeah. And then for the last one for episode 5, we have Cop Killer.
Cop killer, let's kill the cops tonight.
And I think this is just sort of about how particularly young men like just waste their lives in denial about reality and like what's going on in the world, and then they get to the end of their lives, or they get to, the end of their 20s or 30s, or the end of their youth, and they're just like, what did I do the last 20 years? What did I achieve at the end of that? Sort of. What do you think?
I think I heard the commentaries on this. I think it's mostly about people who think that nothing's gonna go wrong in their lives,
Mm,
and they realize it until it's too late. I think that's what it kind of is
mm,
about. From what I've heard from people, they seem to understand it that way. I don't know. This is one of those sketches I don't really get. I know it's
mm,
cursed, but I don't really get it too much.
mm. Well, I think you see that Charles's character doesn't really understand what's going on in the world. So, like, for instance, the judge says 10 years, and then he just says, how about I'm doing none of them? And it's
Yeah,
just sort of like he's in denial about what he has to do in his life, kind of. He's in denial about reality. And the other the other moment of significance is Sam is the judge and says, if you roll a 7, you walk. Anything else, it's another
anything else?
5 years. It's another dime of
It's
Pekinski or
another
whatever.
dime.
Yeah, and
I think it's
so
another 10 minutes.
and so he so he says he rolls it and he goes snake eyes as though he's happy. But the thing is, snake eyes wouldn't even be 7, so he would still lose even if it was snake eyes. And then 6, and then Sam says, "You rolled a 1 and a 6." So it's not snake
Yeah,
eyes and it's not 7. So it's like Charles just doesn't know what's going on in around him basically.
yeah, it's completely unaware until it's too late, and then when he realizes that he's completely schizo.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I really like this sketch. Um, the
I like
black
the
and white.
song,
Yeah, this is the best song, obviously.
and it's from John Mouse apparently, who's
Yeah.
one of the few people who didn't backstab Sam.
Yes, he was the only like musical guest that didn't like disavow him in that like retarded BuzzFeed article,
Uh,
apparently written by Joe Bernstein, I believe was his name.
Blockhead Joe.
Yeah.
And now you know me. I never engage in violence, but if I was put in a self-defense situation with Blockhead Joe,
mm,
I don't think need to make any more comments.
yeah.
I will. I will shoot into the crowd to defend myself.
Yeah.
I will be very unhappy with the carnage I caused, but I will be happy that I defended myself.
Yeah, if he comes after you, he's writing a BuzzFeed article about your early Christian
He
theology
catches me
video series.
if he catches me in an alleyway and he puts me in a dangerous situation. Um, Again, the carnage I caused, I'm gonna be very unhappy, but I'm gonna be happy I defended myself and I remained alive while he's dead.
Mm,
I'm gonna be happy that I defended myself.
yeah.
But I will never engage. Do not engage in violence
Yeah.
with Blockhead Joe. Do not attack Blockhead
Yes.
Joe. Do not make fun of him on Twitter. Do not make fun of him on
Yes.
Facebook.
Yes. Do
Do
not
not
harass
ruin his
anyone.
life. Yeah, do not. Uh, let's say do not harass Joe Bernstein.
Yeah, we'll give
The
him the pass for today.
Yes.
Um, I will say sub to my YouTube. All right, that's
After
one.
you sub mine.
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone that's gonna listen to this is probably already subbed to your YouTube.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's a beta cuckboy that's not, and because he's like, oh, you're too mean.
Too mean.
You you say bitch a lot. I don't like that. You make fun of people a lot. You don't. I don't like that. It's not Christian. Maybe I don't know. Probably don't have someone like that. Maybe
We've
you
got
do.
someone in the chat saying the audio is dodgy. What's wrong with the audio?
Uh, it's Probably me, because I'm speaking through a earbud. I don't have my microphone.
You don't have your Twitch streamer set up.
Yeah, this is my full
Well,
screen
I mean,
setup.
but from what I can see, everything's okay. I think maybe I'm like disproportionately loud to you. Maybe that's the problem.
I don't know. It's
Is this
very
better?
highly possible. It's very highly possible.
Well, they're not saying anything. I think it should be okay. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect audio. All right, I still need to hire my intern, my audio intern for the podcast. I can tell him, oh, pull that up. I don't know who. Pull that up, Joseph.
Yes, you know.
I'll hire Joseph as my intern.
Oh, is your intern?
Yeah, for the flooded
Your
cinema
your
podcast.
intern your intern sucks. I know him,
uh,
by the way. Don't think I'm attacking random people I've never met before. I'm not that stupid. I don't do that.
okay. Well, they haven't said anything else about the audio. I hope it's better. Um, episode
Probably
6. Episode 6. So we open with the Toss It, uh,
the Tosted project.
which is,
Oh man.
I find this one extremely funny, especially when you go through and you look at every single one of the insults on the cups. Uh, because there's a few subtle ones, and then there's, yeah, obviously
Should we say those ones out loud?
well, the one of the ones I find quite funny is the one where it's the woman and the cup says Tim Roth. I don't,
Another one that's funny. It's the Asian kid, and the cup says Chinese.
yeah,
So
that's a
that's
good
the
one.
insult.
That's a good one.
I mean, I guess he's mad because he's not Chinese and
Yeah,
he got called
yeah,
Chinese, but it's
yeah.
like it's not an insult.
Well, I mean, you probably wouldn't care, but like, can you imagine if I don't know some nationalist tech guy got called a Greek? Would that piss him off?
Uh, yeah, probably.
Well, there you go. It's that. I think it must be that sort of a thing.
Yeah, but who cares what they think? Smiley face. I'm just kidding.
True.
Um, yeah,
Yes.
I guess that makes sense. It's like, but it's not the most hurtful thing someone will say to you.
No, I guess not. Um, yeah, so this is really just about like this is sort of semi-connected to the bullying one insofar as it's sort of like this wide. It's about like everyone can be a victim and like victim culture in general and like people obsessing and being neurotic about every single time someone's mean to them or says something like bad to them and
Yeah.
like building their personality around like all the bad things that happened in their life kind of thing,
hmm
you
It's
know.
also it's also making fun of the kind of social movements
Hmm.
where like it's so easy to make some BS social movements about oh, racism bad. Let's exploit that and make up a social movement, and
Yeah.
everyone's gonna care about it because everyone
Yeah.
is programmed to think that um,
Yeah.
calling. I'm not gonna say that, but everyone just thinks that a statement
Yeah.
is so evil, right? Or
Yes.
having certain beliefs is so evil.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, your understanding of nation is like that of a man in the 10th century. We're gonna kill you. Like
Yeah.
it's basically those kinds of people that always get into that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And another line he says is if you don't support gay people teaching your kids in school about butt sex, and he just like takes down the boxes.
Yeah.
But then, like, this is one of the features of Sam's skits is that he has some skits or his some comedy shows where he shows like 10 seconds of genuinity, and it's always about like civilization, and then he's making a point. It's like I'm done. You're the inheritor here, along with other undesirables. But just know who built this place. It's like it's like how did he manage to put that in there? That's just insane.
Yeah,
You will never expect someone to say like that in public television.
yeah. I think first of all, it was before Trump was elected, and so people were still sort of they were like, oh, you can be a bit edgy. Like that was like culturally, you were still allowed to be a little bit edgy, but obviously
Yeah,
that just sort of like disappeared after that. But also, I think it's a function of the fact that probably a lot of the people that worked on the show just didn't get it. They just didn't understand like what anything was about because the like their understanding of like what being right wing is would be like Fox News, like Boomer, right wing. So like if you say stuff to someone that's like you know one or two levels beyond like Fox News, and it's not obvious that it's like right wing. If you code it even just slightly, that it's not going to understand it. So I think like half of the Adult Swim people didn't even understand like what was going on in any of the sketches.
yeah. Um, it's as I said. I mean, I think this is one of the most important sketches in MDE, like world peace, pretty much. It's one of the very important ones,
Mm.
and there's a lot of really, again, there's a lot of things going on that like you can't really get unless you watch it, kinda. There's
Yeah.
also that aspect to it, I think.
Mm.
But what's the
Next
next
one
sketch?
we have Kid Six. So
Yeah,
not so subtle joke about
black metal groups, and it's like, yeah, people that make punk music like that, they're
yeah.
gay. It's like,
Well, they're all
and
gay and they're all pedophiles basically.
yeah, and their fangirls are like little girls that
Yeah.
do horrible stuff,
Yeah.
and
So
they want to do horrible stuff with them. But
yeah.
yeah, that's basically the joke.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that was like, yeah, that was a distinct problem with a lot of these bands. I mean, that's always been a problem, obviously, with any band and any sort of celebrity. But for whatever reason, it happened to get exposed a bit more within this like particular genre. I remember like 10 years ago. But yeah, that's the joke. Kid Six.
Honestly, Kid Six, that's such a sus name
Well,
for a
that's the
band.
joke. That's the joke. Uh, and then we have now. How does Charles pronounce it? Hyper. How does he say it?
Hyper what?
Hypergamy. Or what's the actual term?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hypergen X.
Yeah, hypergenics,
Yeah.
and it's yeah. You should explain this.
Yeah.
I,
So it's
I
a joke on hypergamy, which is like women constantly to
moving up.
to the detriment of like perhaps their long term stability. They constantly are unsatisfied with perhaps the relationship or the man they're with, and so they want a better man. And it's sort of the idea is it's part of their quote unquote biological instinct to you know maximize the spread of their genes or whatever. And so this is hypergen X. So obviously they've swapped the X and the Y. So rather than hypergamy, it's hypergen X. Um, and basically in this, Sam is dressed as like a disgusting woman, and he's with Eric, and he's sort of like just constantly pulling Eric around by the collar, and
Treating him like a dog, basically.
yeah, and it's about him her wanting to. They're at like some DNA, sperm donation place kind of thing, and they're selecting what DNA they want to mix to have her baby, and like it's obvious that Eric is,
Yeah.
you know, apprehensive about it, you know. And I think this is
Yeah,
another sort of straightforward sketch.
yeah, he's basically a cuckerson beta boy that
Mm.
just ends up. I think this is about beta bucks, alpha fucks, in a very different way. It's about that principle,
Yeah.
which where you have, you have women kind of ending up settling with a beta, but they still want to do things with an alpha male, and it's pretty much about that.
Yeah.
Where it has gone. I think this is what I think when when you have a girlfriend or you have a wife, and this girl talks about like her crushes and like this, oh, this guy looks hot. It's basically this sketch comes to my mind. It's like this is basically what's going on.
Mm. Mm.
That's basically what's going on. You're right next to her. You're her, uh, you know, you're interested in her, or you're like you have a relationship with her, and she just like feels comfortable enough to talk about other men in front of you.
Yeah.
And I hate that crap, but so many men are like okay with it. So I think there's also something about that where like these
Yeah.
men have just completely admitted that they're being controlled and cucked by their own girlfriends or wives.
Yeah.
So I think there's that feature embedded in the video for sure.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, and then I guess there's the ending. As well was what's the end? The end is so Sam is sent off for the DNA like mixing or whatever it is, and because they're obviously not actually a high quality person, the effects of it like destroys them. And I think that's a sort of a funny cathartic ending to the sketch. I don't know if it's the what if like what the thematic tie in to that is, other than I guess like the long term effect of a woman constantly doing this would it
End
could
up
lead to
becoming
them
like
burning out. Yeah.
yeah. I think that's kind of what it is about. It's just it might be about what was the term called, hyperchimerism or like
Oh yeah, yeah. Microchimerism.
hyperchimerism, microchimerism, and telegony. I think it's kind of about
Yes.
that.
Well, we'll leave the audience to
No, sorry,
research those
no,
topics.
no, no. We can explain that.
Okay, you go ahead.
It. I don't think YouTube will ban you for explaining telegony.
I,
Because telegony is if let's say an animal inseminates a fellow animal of the same species, and then another animal of that same species comes up and inseminates that, the DNA of that previous animal is going to remain. That's basically
mm,
that what the idea is. So it's like if you have a if if Thunderdome smashes your wife and then you marry your wife after that, that the theory is that your kid's DNA or like his DNA is going to be inside her, or your kid's DNA, some of it is going to be from him.
mm,
That's basically the idea behind it applied to men.
yeah,
Um, I'm not saying it's true or not scientifically speaking. Apparently, there's only been like one study on it on flies, but
mm.
I don't know. It sounds interesting. I don't know.
Interesting concept for sure.
Yeah, but I think it is about telegony for sure. I think that's kind of something he had in mind, definitely.
Yeah. Um, and there's a couple like just quick ones that I forgot. There was the one where it's them at the party, Nick and Eric at the party, and they're just talking about like doing cocaine and blah blah blah. I think
Oh yeah, that one.
that's just about like guys in their late 20s, early 30s or whatever that is still holding on
That's
to their
just
youth. It's pretty
uh,
basic sort of thing.
yeah, and it's Nick's house, by the way, that all of this happens
Hmm.
because he says, get off my mom's couch. Someone who's on
Yeah.
his mom's couch, and yeah, Eric's line is so so good. It's like I'm always gonna be that dude that's doing coke, dude. She can't take that away from me, dude. It's like I'm just thinking, I'm always going to be the guy that games, dude. She can't take away from me. Blah blah blah. I I mix the words polygon so well. Unfortunately, I'm a beta cuck foreigner trying to speak the language of the
The
white man.
noble
So I'm trying.
tongue, the noble English tongue.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm a beta cuck,
Mm.
non-white, savage, trying to speak the language of the nobleman. Sorry, everyone. Can't do it.
Um, and then there's also the baseball one, which there isn't really anything to that one. Um, and then the very very last sketch is the kids. So this sketch is the only sketch which doesn't feature any of the main cast, and it just is
Yeah,
little kids and voiceover, and it's a very ominous way to end the show. And basically, they're just saying like they're talking about how their boomer libtard parents, uh, are themselves like the boomers are fed propaganda, and then they're obviously just passing it on to the kids, and it's either political, but it's also about like life aspirations um, and things like that, and it's just sort of very ominous about what does the future hold for the American empire, the United States empire, and yeah, and I think this year we've seen what that's what we've seen
have you
the
noticed
results.
something that's kind of? By the way, I think we skipped the female Charles sketch where she's like, "I want to cross my baby."
Oh, the bait, yeah, 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 yeah,
But I think what's interesting, because both those sketches are kind of like very similar.
yeah,
Notice how all of the propaganda that these kids are reciting is from their mother.
yes, that's such
It's
a good
the
point.
it's their stupid femoid mothers.
Yes,
And who are these mothers, by the way? Who are these women? These are women that were slags between the ages of 20 to 30 in their lives. They settle with a beta cuck husband who is going to his job and he's trying to cope with doing stuff after job with his mates because
yeah,
his wife's an unpleasant woman and he only married her because no one else will look at him. And this slag, these slags basically put all of this propaganda into their heads. That's basically
mm,
what I got essentially is that like this is woman plus free time is the most dangerous combination as philosopher uh,
yeah,
Samuel Hayden has said. uh, but also the female Charles, I don't want to crush my baby one. It's just single motherhood. It's just
yeah,
really
yeah,
about motherhood and how the state has become their father because the state provides for them. But the state and really most modern fathers today are not actual father figures, really. So
yeah,
all of these women, they are all alone. You leave children with children, see what happens.
yeah, yeah. I think we've pretty much covered. Uh, we have pretty much covered every single sketch now.
I think so, yeah.
Wow, hour and 40
Yeah.
minutes. It's not bad.
You're so powerful.
I know, I know. For an impromptu stream, this is very, very, very powerful. Very good. Good to get it on the
Yeah,
record.
I'm the king of improv, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm the king of improv. When I came into the stream, I had everything planned out. Everything I'm gonna say, your reaction, all of it planned
Yeah,
out.
this is
The
all
only
written actually. We've been writing this for 2 months.
Yeah, it is. I'm reading from a script right now, including the right?
Yeah, including that bit where you couldn't speak English 2 minutes ago.
Especially that. That's a very important part of skit.
Yeah.
My agent, my assistant, he told me we gotta put that in because people are getting too suspicious of you, man. You're speaking
Yeah.
English. fluently, but you got a weird ass accent. You gotta fix that,
Mm,
man.
mm,
So it's like you gotta have moments where you just forget English. Okay, you gotta make these people think about it.
yeah,
Blah, 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 right?
yeah. Um, do you have
I
any
wish I
other
wish
what?
I wish they made a Bitcoin sketch.
Mm,
Pretty,
yeah,
it probably would have happened back then because Bitcoin became a thing literally a year later,
yeah.
right? That's when it like
It really
really
blew up.
became popular. Um, but a Bitcoin sketch would have been very funny.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know something
it's
about
it's obviously yeah, it's a tragedy they didn't get at least one more season. Um,
yeah,
but there's so much to extract even just from these six episodes, and they're only like what 11 minutes each, so it's like the whole
yeah.
thing is yeah, 60 to
It's
70
less
minutes or
than an
something like.
hour if you ignore the outro music at the end.
Yeah,
It's like less than an hour.
so it's and the impact is obviously we discussed that at the beginning, but probably 1 in 3 lines on this is just like people quote all the time on Twitter.
Yeah.
They'll quote tweet something with like some stupid libtard take, and then they'll have a reaction image from World Peace with a quote, and this is
Tell me
just such a
why do you
cultural
think they're doing
mainstay. Yeah, exactly. Um, and obviously, I'm assuming everyone has seen it that is listening to this. But if you haven't seen it, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. You just need to go watch it.
Yeah, you definitely need to watch that. Watch
Yeah.
that stuff, man. My name is. I just remembered the black dude in the Walsh show.
Yeah.
Like, man, I gotta. What was his lines? I forgot. What were his lines? Because it was so powerful. Um,
It
I,
unbecoming,
I
unbechompu.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about Tinky.
Oh.
I just released a hot single. I'm about to blow up right now,
And I
and
go to the gym.
I got a nice body, and I get to the gym. By the way, my name is Tinky.
Maybe you should be David Tinky.
Maybe. I'll make a when I get muscular, I'm gonna make a
Mm.
video, and I'm just gonna like read that entire thing. I gotta. I'm about to blow up right now.
That would
By
be
the
very
way,
funny.
my name is Tinky.
That'd be good. Uh,
We're gonna close shop now, sir.
yes. I don't know. Yeah, nothing. I think we covered every sketch. We had a like a 10 minute intro where we just sort of talked about the show in general. So I think we've covered everything.
Yes.
I think so. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for the people that tuned in for like 2 minutes at a time. But hopefully, the people that listen to this after the fact, I hope you found this enlightening. There was a good retrospective on the show. It was very impromptu, very casual, but it was good fun. Uh, I had a lot of fun. Go what go sub to David's channel. Go sub to Sigma Crypto. Follow
Oh
David
yeah.
on.
I'm building a.
Yeah, we're competitors
I'm
now
building
in
an
the in
empire.
the in the podcast market.
I'm building an empire. I'm part of this podcast, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm part of this. I'm part of this. I can call my homeboy up.
Yeah.
I can be like, Ayo, Ayo, let's be talking about some American psychopathic shit, man.
Maybe
Let's
we'll
talk
save that for next time. We'll save that for next time. That'll
about
be a good one.
I'm about to blow up right now. By the way,
I
my
get to
name
the
is
gym.
Tinky. I got a nice body and I get to the gym. By the way,
Well,
my
maybe we
name
could go.
is Oh, that's me asking you to like talk about some other stuff. It's like I want to talk about American Psycho, but if you want to talk about something else, we could go.
uh, yeah. All right. I think we'll leave it there. I'll end the stream again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Uh, yeah, I think that this is really good. This was a good breakdown.
This is
Good.
monster.
This was a good episode. Good change of pace from the movies. All right, ending the stream. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Goodbye.